are done. So I'm going to be showing you how to sew it now, and I'm starting with the front part of the trouser. You can see this is the front part of the trouser. So the first thing I'm going to do is to sew in my dart. So I'll take one pair, I'll fold the fabric into two on that position that I notched. Then I'm going to start sewing with 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to finish it to nothing on that length. The length for the front dart is 4 inches. So I'll sew in my dart, and I'm done. I'll backstitch, and then that's it. I'm done sewing the dart, and I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other leg of the front. You can see the way the dart is. So keep this piece aside, and then grab the second leg of the front, and then you also sew in your dart. So that's it. The next thing now is to take the front part of the upper bodice. Take it, this is the front part. First you sew your dart again. This time around, you start from the waistline, and then you sew it upward and finish it to nothing. This is the front part of the half length. So I'll sew in the dart, then repeat the same thing to the second side. So I'm done with the second upper part of the front. So what I'm going to do now is to take one upper part and then one trouser, mash them together, right side facing each other, and I'm going to join it. So you are using the corresponding parts. Ensure you are joining the waist together by just 1/2 inch. It must not be more than 1/2 inch. We added just 1/2 inch for seam allowance on the waistline, and you're going to join with just 1/2, just like that. So you keep that one aside, and then you take the other side. Take the other leg of the trouser, get the corresponding front, and then you join it together on the waistline, right side facing each other, and you join with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Alright, so I'm done joining the waistline together. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take the other side of the front, and I'm now going to join it together at the neckline all the way. Just look at the way I'm doing it. Just mash the two fronts together, right side facing each other, the way I'm showing you now. You can see I put it together on the neckline like so. So I'm going to be joining it together all the way down to like about 2 inches before the cross finish. You can see that is the end of that joining. But before we get to the end, like maybe like 2 inches before we get to the end of that line, you are going to stop. Ensure right side is facing the right side. And we are still working on just the front part of the jumpsuit. And we are just sewing a continuous line from the neckline all the way down to the trouser part. And when you're about to finish that line, that is the crotch side, you stop 2 inches before the end of that line. Stop 2 inches before the end of that line. So this is it. This is the neckline. So the next thing you will do now is to attach the facing, but before then you need to join the facing. You know the facing is into 2 pieces, so match the facing together, let it align properly, and then you join it at the center front like this. Join with 1/2 inch. So when you are done joining it, the next thing is to take the inner edge like this, fold it like 1/4 inch, and then you're going to sew it all around like this. This is just to knitting the edge of the facing. So I'm done hemming the facing. So the next thing is to take the front part of the jumpsuit again, and then you are going to be using the facing to turn the neckline. So this is the neckline. Match the right side of the facing together with the right side of the jumpsuit, and then you are going to stitch on the neckline with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm working on the neckline now. I'm using the facing to turn the neckline of the front. So when you get to where the V is, you keep the needle in, and then you rotate the fabric, and then you continue to sew to the other side. So the next thing now is to notch the neckline. Ensure that the center of the V, you are going to notch it very close to the seam, but you are not going to cut your seam. This is just to ensure that the facing relax properly on your V neck. So after that, you turn it, you turn the facing to the wrong side of the jumpsuit. Then you use your iron to iron it so that it can be flat. So you can even see how flat it is now. It's just because we notched that depth of the V. So I'm done with the front for now. I'll keep it aside, then I'll start working on the back. So at first again, I'm going to take the trouser part of the back, then I'm going to sew in the darts, and remember the length for the back dart is 6 inches. The length of the back dart is 6 inches. So you start sewing with 1/2 inch on the waist, then you finish it to knotting on the 6 inches point. You can see the dart. So when you're done with one leg, you take the other leg of the back of the trouser, and then you are going to sew in the dart as well. So I'm done with the trouser part, so I will take the upper part now. You can see this is the upper part. What I'm going to do is to sew in my dart for the upper part. So I'm going to fold the fabric this way, and I'll start stitching from the waistline all the way to where the dart terminates. You know, the dart is just 1/2 inch, so sew it with 1/2 inch on the waist, and you finish it to knotting where the dart stops. Alright, so you repeat the same thing to the second side of the upper part of the back. Alright, so I'm done joining the dart. The next thing is to join the upper part together with the trouser part. So take corresponding upper part and then the trouser part, match them together, right side facing each other. You can see like this now. You join them together, right side facing each other this way, and then you are going to stitch the waist area with 1/2 inch seam allowance. You join it together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. When you are done with one side of the back, you repeat the same thing to the second side of the back. You join it together, right side facing right side. Ensure your darts are matching. Let the darts for both the trouser and the upper part match very well. Let it align properly. So I'm done joining it together on the waistline. Alright, so the next thing now is to match the right side and the left side of the back. Match them together on top of each other, right side facing each other. Ensure the waistline align properly. Ensure the waistline align properly. And then on the waistline, you are going to enter in by 1/2 inch. Then that 1/2 inch, you blend it upward and then you blend it downward. This is just to prevent the zip from bulging at the back. This step is very important. So measure 1/2 inch inward on the waistline like this, but make sure you align both the left and the right side together properly before you do this, so that it can be equal. So you blend it upward and then you blend it downward. Then after that, you're just going to trim it. This is just to prevent the zip from bulging at the back. This way the back will lay flat and follow the shape of the backbone. So just trim off that 1/2 inch. Alright, so you can see I only trim 1/2 inch. So the next thing now is to measure from the waistline where you want the zip to stop. So, and it's usually between 8 to 9 inch below the waistline. So, but I like using 9. So I'll just measure 9 inches downward from the waistline. And then from that point, I'm going to stitch it together to the crouch line, stopping 2 inches before I get to the end of that line. And don't forget you are joining it together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Joining it together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So before the end, you stop 2 inches away, like so. So the next thing you want to do now is to fix your zip. So this is my zip. I'll match the right side of my zip together with the right side of the dress, and I'm going to stitch the zip. So I'm going to stitch my zip. I'm going to ensure I sew very close to the teeth of the zip, but I'm not sewing on it on the zip teeth. I'm not going to be sewing on the zipper teeth, but I'm going to be sewing very close to it. So when you're done with one side, you turn it upside down and then you're going to sew the other side of the zipper. So I'm done with the zipper. You can see this is my zip. My zipper is properly installed now. So what I'll do next is to take the facing for the back. This is the facing for the back. We're also going to be preparing it by folding the outer edge like this, 1/4 inch, and then you're going to stitch the way I'm showing you. So this is it. So you go back to the zipper side. This is the back. Open your zipper completely like this, then you place the facing on top of it, right side to right side. Then you're going to stitch it with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then when you get to where the zipper stop, you keep the needle in, you rotate the fabric, and then you stitch it this way. So you're going to do the second facing. Place the facing on top of it again, right side to right side. This time around I'm starting from the down. Then when I get to the neckline, I'll rotate it, and then I'll stitch on the neckline. Alright, so I'm done installing the facing. The next thing is to notch all around the neckline. Please don't cut the seam, just clock. You are going to cut close to the seam, but you are not going to cut the seam. Alright, so I'm done notching. The next thing is to turn it to the wrong side. See the way I flip it? That's the way you're going to do it. You will also do the second side the same way. Just take a look at the way I'm doing it. And that's it. We are done with the neckline. The next thing now is to join both the front and the back together. As you can see, the back is already on the machine and the right side is facing up. So I'll match the front on top of it. So the right side of the front will be facing the right side of the back. So I'm going to be joining it together on the shoulder. See the way I'm doing it? You know there's facing there. So you need to do it the way I'm doing it so that you can neatly finish the edge of the neckline on that shoulder part. You see these two, they are the facing. So see the way I'm doing it. Let me zoom. Alright, so this is the way it is. So just flip the facing, the two facing, flip them towards the body of the sleeve like this. Then you are going to make your stitch. You are going to be joining this shoulder together with 1/2 inch seam allowance like this. So I'm done joining the shoulder together on one side. I'll also join the shoulder together on the second side. So on the neckline, open the facing separately like I'm showing you here. See? You can see this is the facing towards it. So flip the facing downward this way to the body of the jumpsuit like this. Can you see? Then you're going to stitch it together with 1/2 inch. You join the shoulder together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Alright, so we are done with the shoulders. So the next thing is to go to the, you see at this stage, the next thing now is to fold the hem of the sleeve. So fold it once. This is the hem of the sleeve, and I'm starting at the very end of the sleeve, that tip that is sharp. So fold it once and fold it again twice like this, and then you're going to stitch it all around. You do the same thing for the two sleeves. So I'm done with one sleeve. I'll also do the same thing to the second sleeve. You see, I started at the very tip of the sleeve like this, and I'm going to stitch it together. You sew it till you get to the shoulder. When you get to the shoulder, you continue stitching it till you get to the other end of the sleeve. Alright, so before we continue, the next thing is to go to the ironing table and finish this neckline properly. So I'll go to the ironing table and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so I will lay the fabric flat on the ironing table like this. Then I'll spread the neckline wide this way. So I'm going to iron it flat first before I'll now put hemming gum. You need hemming gum to finish the neckline so that the facing can stay permanently inside. Because if you did not use hemming gum to press it down, the facing may be coming to the right side. It will not relax properly. So you need to put hemming gum underneath the facing. You put hemming gum underneath it like this, then you iron it together. This hemming gum will help the facing to gum together with the main body of the jumpsuit. So that's the reason why we are putting the hemming gum. So at this stage, I just went ahead and then I ironed all the seams I've been doing so far. I ironed the dart, ironed virtually every part of the jumpsuit, the waistline, everywhere, everything that I've been doing since I ironed it flat at this stage, the sleeve, everywhere, like everywhere. So right now, the front and the back of the jumpsuit are on top of each other. You can see we are almost done with the jumpsuit. You can see this is the way it's looking. Then this is the inseam area, the cross side. So now you can see that 2 inches that we left unfinished earlier on. So now you join the back and the front leg together like I'm showing you like this. Join it together like this. You see, join it together like this. Then you are going to make a stitch all the way down to the hem of the leg of the pant. Then you do the same thing to the second side like this. Join it together this way and then you stitch it. And let me show you very well. The back part is down and the right side is facing up. Then the front part, I place it on top of it like this, and then the right side of the front is facing the back. So now you can see the unfinished 2 inches that we left while joining the center front. So pick one leg of the front and also pick one leg of the back like this. Mash it together this way. Let them align properly, and then you are going to join together with 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way down to the hem of the jumpsuit. So I'm going to be joining it now the way I've explained to you. this part here that I'm doing now, we call it inseam, the inseam of the jumpsuit. That is where I'm joining now. And we're joining both the back and front pants together. Make sure as you are joining it, you are aligning it properly together. Let it be properly aligned. Alright, so I'm done with one leg. I'll take the other leg and I'll also join it together. Alright, so what I'm doing here is just that I'm showing you very well so that you can understand. So I'm done with one leg. I'm done with this leg. See the other leg now. You join both the front and the back together. You can see. You see it. Okay, so mash it together like this, and then you are going to stitch together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So you continue to join it all the way down till you get to the hem of the pant. So at this stage, if you open the bottom part of the trouser, you still have little opening. Let me show you. See, this part here is still open. So you now join it together. Just sew the continuous line. You see the little opening here. Can you see? So just match it together from the center front. You know that line that comes straight from the center front. You continue to sew it all the way till you get to the back part. You know that place that you stop before the zip at the back? Yes, you sew it all the way close till you sew everything completely. Hope it's clear. Please, if you have any question, feel free to call me. We can do a video call so that I can explain better. Alright, so the next thing now is to go to the hem of the trouser. You can see this is the hem of the trouser. So what you're going to do is to sew, you see, fold it once and then you fold it again. First fold 1/2 inch inward like this, then you fold it again. So now we are going to be creating elastic casing. This elastic casing is optional. I don't know why she puts elastic at the hem of the trouser though, but if you want to have the elastic at the hem of the trouser, so just sew it like this. Even if you're not putting elastic inside, it's still the same way you will sew it. All right, so I've stitched the hem of the trouser. I'm going to sew the other leg as well. This is the other leg. Fold it once and then you fold again this way, and then you are going to make your stitch. You're going to make your stitch. So I'm done hemming the lower part of the trouser. I'm done hemming the lower part. So the next thing now is to put elastic. So just take your elastic, place your elastic at one end of the leg. You see, this is the one leg of the leg like this. Place your elastic there. Measure the length of the leg with the elastic, then you cut it out. So after cutting the elastic out, you can see the elastic measure exactly the length of the hem. So fold the elastic into two like this. Fold the elastic into two equal half. Then you are going to cut it. So we already cut the elastic into two. You see, we cut it into two. So each of them will be for each of the legs. So with the help of your safety pin, you are going to be pushing the elastic inside the hem of the trouser like this. Ensure you secure the elastic at the two ends of the hem like so that the elastic will not escape inside. Alright, so the next thing is to put the other elastic on the other leg. I'm done with one leg, so I'll repeat the same thing to the other leg. Use your safety pin, push in the elastic, secure the elastic at this end before you continue. Then find your way and bring back the safety pin outside. Then you see it's the other end of the elastic is out, so you secure it again. So basically we are done putting the elastic. So we are almost done. The next thing now is to close the side of our jumpsuit. You can see the elastic is in on the hem of the leg. So the next thing now is to close the side seam. I'm going to be closing the side seam with 1 inch, but if you don't want it to be too tight on your body, if you still want a little room, if you don't want it to be too fitted, you can close it with ½ inch all the way, starting from the upper part of the hand. You see that wing, you see that wing here. Okay, so this is it. You can see the wing of the hand. So starting from that wing, you are going to sew it close with ½ inch. But if you really want it to be fitted, you know, we added just 1 inch for the same allowance, you are going to close the side with 1 inch. But if you want it to still have a little room, you know, you don't want it to be too tight or too snug on your body, you're going to close with ½ inch. So I close mine with ½ inch on the sleeve, but when I get to the armpit, that armhole, I close the side from the armhole, I close the side with 1 inch. So just look at what I'm doing, because I really want it to be fitted on my body. But if you don't want it to be too fitted, like you don't want it too fitted, you can just close it with that same ½ inch all the way down to the hem of the trouser. Ensure the 2 raw edges align properly. This part we are sewing now, we call it out seam, the out seam of the trouser. Alright, so I'm done with one side of the jumpsuit. I'll also repeat the same thing to the second side. Since you are new in sewing, you may need to confirm your measurement. Just cross-check whether you have up to your waist measurement on the waistline before you close it. Definitely you will have up, in fact, far more than your bust measurement on this cuffed part, because you know it's cut like a kimono, it's cut together with the body. But you can just check on the waistline and ensure you have up to your waist measurement before you close it. I think that would be better for you, instead of just closing it with just one or just half, you know. Just confirm it. Alright, so I'm closing the sleeve part with ½ inch. Then when I get to that armhole side, I'm going to continue to close the body with 1 inch. You see the way I'm ensuring everything align properly. Yes, when you're sewing, you don't need to rush. Just take your time and then let your seam be straight too. Let it just follow the shape that you have on the side. I'm closing with 1 inch. Let it be 1 inch from wherever you start all the way down. Not that one part will be 1, the other side will be 1.5, or one side will be half, you know. Let it be equal. If you're closing with 1 inch, close it from beginning to the end with the 1 inch. If you're closing with half, you do the same thing. Let it be straight. Not that one part will be 1.5, the other side will be 1, the other one will be half, you know. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Alright, so I'm done closing the side of the jumpsuit. I'm so excited. It's such a long tutorial. Alright, so you now go back to where the sleeve connects to the body. You see this part here, this part. You see this part? You need to notch it. You will notch it to the seam, but you are not going to cut the seam. So just notch it. Don't cut the seam, but just notch it like this. You know the reason why we are doing this? So that by the time you turn it, there will be no squeeze or fold at the armpit of the dress, so that everything can relax properly. That's the reason for doing it. So you do the same thing to the second side, and basically that's all. So I'm going to wear it now. Make sure you iron it very well. I'll wear it now and show you. This is me showing you. I made this tutorial in the night, so I'm just trying to show you. Don't mind the shadow because I made it in the night. To still be deeper, you can increase the length of the neckline in front, or if you want it to be narrower, you can still reduce it. Do you understand? It mustn't be like my own exactly. You can see the way it is on my body. See the wing, then see the back. Okay, so I want to tell you something about the back. See the way the zip follow the shape of the back. It's because we shaped the back. It's because we enter in on the waistline by 1/2 inch that time. All right, so you see the wing. So this is how it looks. I think I like it. Actually, I love jumpsuits.